Waiting is a lot of fear, stress, and eventual happiness if you get what you need.
Waiting means you got to have patience and faith to believe that it will happen on the time frame that the Lord has for you.
The waiting is difficult, but we get through it.
It's a lot of guessing, and you just don't know.
The main thought is it ever going to happen? Am I going to make it until then?
It's tough. Every year, my health deteriorates more and more. It gets more scary, too.
The word waiting means to me to have courage and hope and faith.
It's using that time waiting to learn as much as possible, to educate people on organ donation, and just do what I can with the time that I have.
It's agonizing. I think about it for my daughter. We think about all the things we're gonna do after.
Waiting for my future is what I'm waiting for. It's the weight on my chest, and I just sit here and wait because there's nothing I can do. I need someone to help me.
It's exhausting because it's just, what if, when? Waiting is kind of our life right now.
Good morning and welcome to Life Center's 17th Annual Community Breakfast, the virtual edition. I'm Barry Massa, Executive Director. On behalf of Life Center, we appreciate you joining us virtually today. I hope that you and your loved ones are safe and in good health, as I know this has been a very challenging time for so many in our community and across the world. Although the event format is new for us, and while we're not together joining my favorite meal of the day, this is actually a great opportunity to share the Life Center Community Breakfast experience with so many more individuals. I'm really excited to be able to accomplish this experience in a new normal, which we've been adapting to for the last several months. Hopefully, you are eating something delicious while you're tuned in. This morning is a celebration and acknowledgement of so much of our community, and this rings especially true for 2020, as it has been an unprecedented year. To our frontline heroes in healthcare, which includes Life Center's organ clinical and tissue recovery staff, our police and fire departments, as well as all of the essential workers providing goods and services throughout this pandemic, thank you for your sacrifice, your dedication, and your service. I also want to thank those in attendance from Life Center's Board of Directors, Medical Advisory Board, and Finance Committee for your leadership and guidance during this challenging year. Welcome and thank you to all of our Donate Life ambassadors and Donor Family Council members with us today. You have stayed the course and worked with us to continue to do outreach and education in a non-traditional climate. I'd also like to acknowledge the ambassadors who we've lost this year. Ruben Mayo, Leah Renke, Bob Lostro, and Clark Beck Sr., who is one of the oldest living kidney recipients. For our new attendees, Life Center Community Breakfast is our mission-centric event. We gather at this time every year to highlight donation champions for organ, eye, and tissue donation. We also learn from our community members about their personal experiences with donation and transplantation. In closing, we debut our Life Center calendar that features people right here in the greater Cincinnati community who are in the midst of their delicate and unique life path that includes organ, eye, and tissue donation. At this time, we will light candles in recognition of all those who are part of the donation and transplantation story. The first candle is lit to honor and say thank you to those who have given the gift of life as deceased organ, eye, and tissue donors, as well as living donors. The second candle is to celebrate all the individuals who have received the gift of life. Our third candle represents the more than 110,000 patients, 600 of which are right here in our community, who continue to wait for a life-saving organ transplant. And finally, the fourth candle is in remembrance of the thousands of men, women, and children who passed away while waiting. If you could, please join me for a moment of silence. Thank you again for joining us this morning. And now, who's ready for some breakfast?
Thank you, Barry, for leading us in the moment of silence to honor, celebrate, and remember all the men, women, and children who contributed their unique stories to the donation and transplantation community. Hi, everyone. I'm Jeannie Kuhn, the Community Relations Manager at Life Center, and I'm your MC for this year's Community Breakfast Virtual Edition. We have a wonderful program planned for you, filled with the testimonials of individuals who have been personally impacted by donation. Throughout the program, you will have an opportunity to ask questions using the Zoom Q&A feature, and the Life Center staff is standing by to answer and offer resources as necessary. But first, we have a real sweet treat for you this morning. Jordan Hammonds from Tablespoon Cooking Company joins a donor mom, Lynette Williams, in the kitchen as we listen to her son's donation story, all while whipping up a delicious breakfast for us. So, without further ado, grab your ingredients if you're joining them, and let's start cooking. Take it away, ladies.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. My name is Jordan, and I am the owner of Tablespoon Cooking Company. We're located at Findlay Market, and we offer hands-on cooking classes that are a ton of fun, and we show you how to cook better food at home. Today, I am here with my friend Lynette, and we're so excited to be part of Life Center's Community Breakfast. We're gonna cook today honoring Lynette's son, Landon.
Right.
So Lynette, you told me earlier that your son Landon was a big foodie.
Yes, he was.
And you had a really cool story about how you kind of honor him with going to his favorite restaurants.
Right. October 21st, 2013, Landon went jogging with his older brother and he collapsed and never regained consciousness. So to kind of honor Landon and kind of keep things a little light with the family, we go to his 3 favorite restaurants the week that he passed away. And Landon was quite the foodie. And we try to order the same items that he would order at these restaurants, but so far no one's been able to complete the meal.
Okay. All right. So I thought today we would honor Landon by cooking some breakfast together.
Right.
And what was his favorite breakfast?
He loved waffles. He loved scrambled eggs, sausage or bacon.
Okay.
And he also loved when I wasn't the one doing the cooking.
Well, you're gonna be cooking today, but so those were all kind of classic items.
Right.
But we're gonna take the classics today, and we are gonna show you a few tips and tricks just to make them really great. So we're gonna do some fluffy buttermilk waffles. We have some syrup and some whipped cream. We're gonna do some oven fried roasted bacon and some scrambled eggs.
Right.
So let's get started. We're gonna start with our bacon first.
Okay.
So doing bacon in the oven is a restaurant trick that I use at home too. I think once you kind of start cooking bacon this way, it's hard to go back. But we're gonna cook our bacon in the oven because it's less messy, it cooks it easier and more clean, and it's hands off as well. So would you help me? We are gonna just lay out our bacon on our sheet pan. I have a rack on there with some parchment underneath. The rack helps, but if you don't have a rack at home, you can just do it on the, I like to use either parchment or foil because it kind of protects your pan and it makes for easier cleanup. But this, by far, I think is just the best way to cook bacon. And you can put them pretty close on there because they're gonna shrink up a little bit in the oven when that fat starts to render off. So you can get them real close. This is a nice thick cut bacon. We get ours over at Findlay Market at Eckerlin's, which amazing, but use whatever bacon you like. I think a little bit thicker cut works better because really thin, it can kind of cook really quickly. That looks beautiful. And we're gonna put this in the oven at about 400. And another great thing about doing bacon this way is that we're gonna put it in the oven and then we can work on our other stuff. We don't have to like stand at the pan watching it. It's hands off, and it's also a great way to cook bacon for a crowd, because you can load up a couple sheet pans of bacon and then have them in the oven. So let's go ahead. I'll put this in the oven.
Okay.
We're gonna do it at 400. It'll take, I don't know, maybe 15 to 20 minutes, but the best thing to do is just kind of like keep an eye on it and check it frequently, because everyone's ovens are different. You never know how fast it's gonna go. And it depends how you like your bacon. So did Landon like his?
Crispy.
Crispy, okay,
Yeah.
we're gonna go crispy today.
Okay.
All right, so that's in. And now I thought we would start on our waffle batter.
Okay.
All right, so we've got everything measured out. This is gonna be our flour. And we're gonna start by whisking together our dry ingredients. So if you wanna start with that.
Okay.
We'll do our flour, and then we've got some sugar right here. I'll pour that in for you. There we go. We've got some baking soda. We've got baking powder. There we go. And we have a little bit of kosher salt. So sometimes people are like, why? I want my waffles to be sweet. Why is there salt in it? Salt's gonna bring out the flavor. It's gonna make them taste more buttery, more waffly, if that's a thing.
Yes.
It's just gonna make them taste better. All right, that looks good.
Okay.
And then in this bowl, we're gonna do our liquid ingredients.
Here's where I always go wrong with following recipes. Number one, I don't like following recipes. I always want to venture off and do my own thing.
Yeah,
but
well, there's some room for that.
I think the real thing here is Landon didn't like my cooking. So somewhere he's looking down like, what has they done?
Oh no.
This could be his own personal joke on me.
Did he cook, or was he just an eater?
He was an eater.
Okay.
Yeah. His cooking consisted of microwaving.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that works. Gets the job done. All right, so we have some whole milk, some buttermilk. I like to use buttermilk because it gives a little like tang, and it makes them fluffy and tender. A little bit of vanilla, and some melted butter. So I'll just pour that in. And you want to just grab that whisk, and we can whisk all these together. Okay, so this is a little bit different, and this is what's gonna make our waffles really fluffy. We are gonna separate our eggs.
Okay.
So we're gonna take the yolks and the whites, and we're gonna use them differently. So whenever I'm separating eggs, first of all, I like to just kind of crack them right into my hand, like that, and then let the white fall through. And the reason for that is because when a lot of people do the back and forth shell trick, which is fine, but sometimes the shell can break, and then either you break your yolk or you get little pieces of shell in there. So this is the way I like to separate eggs. And I also like to use 3 bowls when I do this, and I'll separate one, and then I'm gonna put the whites over here.
Okay.
Because if a yolk breaks after we've done 3 or 4, we don't want it to contaminate kind of the whole thing. So it's always a good idea to just kind of keep it separate. So I'll do one more, and then you can try one. And cold eggs are easier to separate. They can kind of freeze your hands a little bit, but they separate much easier.
Well, I'm learning a lot because I usually do the back and forth. So shell gets in there, that's just added flavor.
That's how I learned. Yeah, there you go, a little crunch. My mom taught me that too, and then when I started cooking, I learned this trick. And it is a lot, if you have to separate a lot of eggs, it's a little bit faster. And then once you get used to it, it's not that, you just wash your hands, it's not a big deal. But do you want to do the last? We need one more.
Okay.
And here, let me put this over here. I didn't follow my own advice there, but that's okay. Okay, and you can just kind of crack it right into your hand if you want to try that way, or you can do the other way.
I was going to try your way. I kind of like that.
Let's try it. Got it.
I feel like I should say, hey kids, don't try this at home.
All right, and you can put the yolks right in there. Beautiful. We'll put the white over here. And then we are going to add the yolks in with our liquid ingredients.
Okay.
So put those in and just whisk it up, get them all combined.
I feel like I learned something new today.
I learn something new every day. That's the fun thing about cooking, is that there's always something to learn. All right, that looks great. And now what we're gonna do is we are gonna take our time here and we are gonna whisk these egg whites until they form peaks. So we're gonna whisk them until they're light and fluffy and almost like meringue looking.
Okay.
And then we're gonna incorporate that into our batter, and that's what's gonna make our waffles really fluffy.
Okay.
So I think this would be a good time. I know we have 2 awesome speakers.
Okay.
So we're gonna work on whisking these egg whites, because this might take us a minute, and then by the time you guys come back, hopefully we'll have gotten these nice and fluffy. So, all right, we'll see you guys soon.
Hi, my name is Bruce Southers, and I'm an ambassador with Life Center. Our family's journey with organ donation really started with the birth of my son, Keegan. We actually had various nicknames for him. One of them was Smiley, because he literally smiled just about every time that we saw him. He was a twin. My son, Wyatt, is now 11 years old. Keegan was born with congenital heart disease. He needed to go on to a heart transplant when he was 8 months old. He unfortunately passed away when he was 1 year old while he was still waiting for a heart transplant. Dealing with that was very obviously difficult. Just the thought of having your 8-month-old son have to even go on a transplant list was really very surreal. The waiting game, if you will, is certainly very agonizing, knowing that it could happen at any time, but also it may not happen at all. Keegan was actually on the heart transplant list for 82 days. There were certain feelings that you're dealing with as you have, especially a small child on a transplant list, but you know that you want your child to live and survive. At the same time, you also know that someone else's child is going to have to pass away. So it's a really surreal feeling to pray and hope for that to happen, knowing that another family is going to ultimately be in a very sad situation as well. My son Wyatt, who is Keegan's twin brother, was just a little under 1 year old. So we still could sense that he missed his brother. I mean, they were twins, and there's a certain bond being a twin. I'm a twin myself, so I know and appreciate the bond that twins have. My wife, Julie, she actually visited the hospital every single day. My daughter, Fiona, on her birthday, when she turned 5, she actually visited him. That was what she wanted to do, was go in and visit him in the hospital. She missed him, and those were the challenging times for us as a family, knowing that we had to keep a certain normalcy to make sure that they were okay, but at the same time, knowing the uncertainty of it all, we want to make sure that they had every opportunity to actually go visit their brother as well. It was really a group effort for our whole family in order to stay strong as we could while we were waiting for our son to get a heart transplant. After waiting 82 days on the heart transplant list, my son passed away with his family around him, and we said goodbye to him. And ever since then, I really have made it my goal to share our family story so that we can share the word about organ donation and the need for organ donation. Thank you for listening to my son Keegan's story. Thank you to Life Center for inviting me to come up and share information about organ and tissue donation. Now I'd like to invite Amanda Garcia to the stage as she shares her family story related to organ and tissue donation. Thank you.
My name is Amanda Garcia, and I'm going to talk to you about how donation and transplantation changed my life. My dad was diagnosed with renal failure when we were young, and we learned quickly what that meant. Dad was sick now. Life wasn't about us anymore. The focus was my dad's deteriorating health because of his failing kidneys. My mom became his caregiver, advocate, and champion. I remember hoping that every phone call was that call, that a kidney became available. At that age, you learn to adapt to your new normal, but at the same time, you can't grasp the true reality and severity of the situation. I felt so sad knowing that someone had to die for my dad to live, but also recall feeling happy that he was given a second and third chance at his life. His first kidney transplant resulted in rejection. His second transplant gave us 13 more years with him, which meant more family gatherings and celebrations. soccer games, vacations, and lastly, being there for the birth of his grandchild, my daughter Kaylee. Kaylee was born on June 17th, 2000. And I remember it like it was yesterday. Seeing her for the first time, I fell completely and madly in love with her. I had Kaylee at a young age, so we grew up together. We lived with my parents and siblings, and she loved everyone in our family, especially her papa. She was his first grandchild, so to say that she was spoiled is an understatement. Kaylee was devastated when he passed away. We had to gently explain to her about Papa's illness and how his kidney transplants gave him more time with us. This stuck with her, and as she got older, she asked more and more questions about it. This led to her interest in medicine and desire to help people. She decided to become a surgeon early in high school and was determined to excel so that she could be accepted to her #1 college choice, which was The Ohio State University, which she did accomplish. Kaylee was to start in the fall of 2018 in the pre-med program. I have no doubt that she would have made a difference as a surgeon by saving and changing lives. She ultimately did, but not in the way we had ever envisioned. April 27th, 2018 at 6 p.m. was the last time I would ever hug my daughter, hear her voice, and see her blue eyes and big bright smile. It was the last time I touched her, told her how beautiful she was and how proud I was of her. She looked stunning that night. She always looked beautiful, but that night she was just beaming with happiness and excitement. She hugged me and said she loved me before she got into that car. I'll always cherish that last hug and last I love you. 6:14 p.m. was the first 911 call. They never made it to prom. Just less than 14 minutes after I saw her, she was ejected from the car that was traveling 112 miles per hour. She suffered life-threatening injuries and was flown to UC Medical Center. As soon as we arrived, doctors of all specialties came in to speak with us. All I remember hearing is that she was a very sick girl and suffered a traumatic brain injury. Everything else was a blur. Later that night, we were told that we just had to wait. We had 3 days for her to make any improvement and show any brain function. Our families, friends, coworkers, and what seemed like all of Monroe's high school lined the hallways and waiting rooms. As we waited for signs of improvement, I kept thinking that her story couldn't possibly be over. After a few days, we were told we had to start making some decisions. Kaylee and I had talked a lot about organ donation, and when I was able to accept the reality, I asked about it. We are introduced to Missy from the Life Center, who made the process of donation transparent and as easy as it could be given the situation. She truly cared about our family and focused on honoring Kaylee throughout the process. Since Kaylee's passing, we have met 3 of her 6 recipients and learned how her gifts have changed their lives as well as their families' lives. A teacher is now back with her students and healthy. A woman has much better quality of life, and an adorable little boy is back to running and jumping and just being a little boy, all because of my Kaylee. A small piece of my shattered heart was put back in its place that night. Donation has come full circle in my life. As a daughter, I'm thankful to have had more time with my dad. And as a mother, I grieve and still try to understand why. But I'm so proud of her. Because of Kaylee, 6 people are no longer waiting. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce and Amanda, for sharing Keegan and Kaylee's story with us. We're so honored that you were both able to join us today to share your journey of unconditional love, courage, and faith. It is my experience that it is the personal journey that truly resonates with the community, and it is what inspires us to want to act and make a difference. Thank you both again. Now, we're going to check in back with Jordan and Lynette to see how breakfast is coming along. How's it going, ladies?
Welcome back, everyone. While you were gone, we had some exciting things happening in the kitchen. So first of all, our bacon is finished. Is this about the crispiness that
Yes.
Landon liked? Okay. So I'm just going to set this aside for a few minutes. We'll get to it shortly. Now's a good time to take a snack, but I won't do that today. Normally I would. And we've been doing some whisking. So I'm sweating a little bit. I don't know about you, but our eggs are nice and frothy, and we are going to start bringing our batter together.
Okay.
So can you put wet into dry for me?
Okay.
And you can just kind of fold it in. We don't need to really stir it a ton because we don't want our waffles to get tough. Yeah.
I believe this is what you mean by fold.
Yes, you got it. And then once all that's in there, we'll kind of fold the dry into the wet to get a nice batter. And you can
Speed it up a
a little bit. You got it.
My thing with cooking is I'm afraid I'm going to screw something up, and with my family, you will never hear the end of it.
A wise chef once told me I was making pie dough, but the dough can smell your fear.
Okay.
So don't let the waffle batter smell your fear. So as you're folding this batter together, and I'm going to go ahead and add these whites in, and you can just keep doing what you're doing and folding those in. Great. I would love to know a little bit more about Landon's tissue donation and the story and all the people that he helped.
Okay. Well, through the active tissue donation, Landon was able to help up to 75 to 100 people.
That's incredible.
Yeah. He was 24 years old when he passed away. And I'm glad and very proud of him because he was able to touch so many lives through his gift of tissue and cornea donation.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So that batter looks perfect. I think we're ready to go. You're gonna have a little bit of like bubbles and lumps in there. That's totally fine.
Okay.
And we are gonna start making some waffles here.
Okay.
So, we are gonna start by adding, we're gonna grease our waffle maker a little bit so they don't stick. So this is just like pan spray, like Pam or whatever you have at home, non-stick cooking spray. Get that nice. You could use melted butter as well. I think it's a little bit easier. And then we're gonna go ahead and just kind of put some batter in there. So I'll let you do the honors. I like to use these like portion scoops to do this. I think they just work well, but you could use a measuring cup. We're going for like about a half a cup depending on your waffle maker. So let's see how that looks. Maybe 2 of those. Yeah. All right.
Here's where I go wrong. I overdo it. So then the batter is flowing over the waffle maker and it's just a big mess. And
we've all been there, I think. Hopefully not today with all these people watching us, but that's okay. All right, that looks beautiful. I'm gonna add just a little bit. Now I can kind of see, I wanna just fill in those. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. That's
the power of suggestion.
Yeah, I know. Okay, great. So while our waffles are cooking, we're going to work on some eggs.
Okay.
And we're going to talk a little bit more about Landon. So that's incredible how many people he was able to help. What did that kind of mean to you and your family?
It means a lot to us because Landon, we were at the BMV the morning when he decided he wanted to become an organ and tissue donor. And I wasn't sure if he really knew what that all entailed. But he didn't hesitate when they asked the question. So that made me proud. Yeah. I didn't know that a few years later, it would all come to pass, but I was very happy and very proud of him. We all are.
Absolutely. And talk to me a little bit about Life Center. What has that community meant to you?
Life Center means a lot to me. I feel like I belong to a family, more than an organization. I mean, we sit, we talk, we can talk about anything. We talk about Landon sometimes, some of his likes and dislikes, and I feel like they know us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you said something to me earlier that I thought was really important, and that was when you experience a death like that, it's hard to imagine that other people know what you're going through. And you said that Life Center kind of provided you
with... We all share a common theme. And I'm also a Donate Life ambassador. Oh. And one way I try to get the word out to the community is wherever I am, I try to leave a Donate Life pin.
Oh, cool.
Wherever I am. So someone may see that pin and maybe have a couple of thoughts or maybe think about someone that they knew that was an organ and tissue donor and maybe they're not there yet. So I think it helps.
Yeah.
Helps to get the thought process and get a conversation started.
That's incredible. Okay, so would you mind whisking these a little bit for me? We're gonna really whisk them, and while you're doing that, I'm just gonna season them with a little bit of salt so they taste nice. And we're gonna do a little bit of heavy cream because that's just gonna make them creamy and delicious. And then it looks like our waffle is doing pretty well over here. Oh yeah. In the meantime, I'm gonna melt some butter.
Okay.
So that we can scramble these eggs. That looks good.
Now, I struggle with the melting butter. It usually turns into something other than melted butter.
Well,
it's soon burnt butter.
Burnt butter, yes. Now, if you catch it before it burns, it can be brown butter, which is absolutely delicious.
Okay.
And a good thing. Low and slow. That's kind of, always a key, especially with scrambled eggs here. But just gotta have fun with it. Oh, look at that. That's looking nice.
Yes.
A little bit more brown, I think, but Right, and those eggs look great. As soon as this butter is melted, we are gonna add the eggs in, and we're gonna do a soft scramble.
Okay.
So a soft scramble means we're gonna cook them low and slow, so they're gonna be kind of like big and fluffy.
Yeah.
It's just nice and soft texture-wise.
Okay.
Did Landon have a favorite style of egg or scrambled egg?
Well, since you said big and fluffy, that would describe Landon.
Okay, there we go. Our waffles are gonna be big and fluffy, same with our eggs, so this is gonna be perfect.
He really loved to load up his plate.
Load up, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, our butter is melted.
Okay.
That looks good. I'm just on medium heat right now. And those eggs, beautiful work.
Okay.
That is nice. All right, so Lynette's eggs look perfect. What's your husband's name?
Sylvester.
Sylvester, if you're watching, perfect.
He's gonna be so jealous.
Give her some credit. Okay, can you pour those in?
Okay.
Oh yeah, here, I'll scrape this out of here. All right, and the first thing we're gonna do is we're just gonna let these set for a minute.
Okay.
So we're not gonna touch them yet. We're just gonna give them a couple minutes, let them kind of set. It won't take long because we don't have too much going on in here.
Okay.
And then we will start softly scrambling them. So when we do that, I will hand the spatula to you, and you're just gonna kind of move it around in there and kind of form those kind of nice fluffy pieces.
Okay.
But we should check our waffle. Oh, what do you think? A little bit more?
A little bit more.
A little bit more. The bottom's looking beautiful. Just another minute, I think. Okay, Lynette, it is time to start scrambling. So I'm gonna hand this to you, and if you're just gonna start moving that around, all right? Just scramble those up. If you're making this at home, just move your eggs around and start scrambling them, nice, low and slow. We're gonna check our waffle here in a second, but in the meantime, we are gonna send you over to recognize some local donation champions, and we'll see you soon to have breakfast together.
Hi, I'm Andy Johnson, Community Relations Director at Life Center. Thank you all for joining us today for our virtual community breakfast. And a special thank you to all of you that are working hard in support of organ, eye, and tissue donation and transplantation. So many of you play a pivotal role in the miracle that is donation, and Life Center truly appreciates your continued partnership and collaboration. At this time, we will recognize some special individuals in our community who have done so much in support of this life-saving mission. Life Center's first award presentation is the 2020 Champion for Life. A champion for life is someone who has been recognized by their peers as an outstanding advocate for organ, eye, and tissue donation. Past honorees have included physicians, nurses, organ recipients, teachers, donor families, religious leaders, and many others. Our first champion for life traveled into unprecedented territory this year with one of her unit's organ donation patients. She successfully navigated multiple social issues, protocols, and engaged in new diagnostic testing. This experience made her a champion for life. She showed excellence by constantly advocating for the family's request to withdraw care and move forward with organ donation. And she worked with the family to provide them with the best and most compassionate end-of-life experience with their loved one, and ensured the patient was able to give the gift of life to others. This was all complicated by COVID-19 restrictions, as well as relationship challenges within the family. However, she persevered and worked to fulfill the family's needs. The patient's clinical course raised multiple questions, but this nurse collaborated with the leadership and physicians during the process, while also not delaying withdrawal of care, as organ donation was very important to the family, so that something positive could come from their loved one's untimely death. Our first 2020 Life Center Champion for Life is Jane Zala, CICU nurse at St. Elizabeth Edgewood.
It's an honor to receive this Champion of Life award for organ donation. Organ donation is very near and dear to my heart. My nephew has received 2 kidney transplants from deceased donors, and I'm very honored that I get to work on a unit that promotes the gift of life and that I get the opportunity to work with patients and families to give this selfless act.
Our next Champion for Life has always done an amazing job supporting our life-saving mission. He ensures the Donate Life message is displayed in a multitude of ways throughout both the Wilmington and Hamilton East BMV offices, where he serves as Deputy Registrar. When onboarding new employees, he emphasizes the importance of asking the donation question to all customers not currently registered. Additionally, he's hosted information tables many times over the years and is always looking for ways that he can help educate our community about the power of yes. Thank you, Shane Lawrence, our 2020 Champion for Life Award winner, for being a consistent voice and strong proponent for donation for more than 15 years. As a result of your advocacy, more lives have been saved.
Thank you, Life Center. It is truly an honor to receive the Life Center Champion for Life Award. I would like to thank Glenna, Jeannie, and the entire Life Center organization for the outstanding job they do in educating the community importance of organ donation, and that I can play a role in helping this continuing education. Currently, there are over 109,000 people who need life-saving organ transplant, with a new name being added every 10 minutes. It takes approximately 1 second to change a person's life by saying yes. So if you have not already done so, I ask you please consider taking a life-saving second to say yes to becoming an organ and tissue donor. Again, thank you for the award, and I wish you all the best.
Our next award is the Theodore E. Smith Award, which recognizes and celebrates the pointed contributions made by an individual in the education and/or encouragement of organ, eye, and tissue donation across all communities, but in particular those of color. This award is in remembrance of Theodore Evan Smith, or Theo as he was known, who was a member of the Life Center team who passed away in 2005. As a community educator, donation champion, and 3-time kidney recipient, he was a living testament to how donation changes lives. Theo's work became Life Center's blueprint for current outreach and education. Our award winner is one of Cincinnati's greatest treasures and has been widely recognized by countless organizations for his work in social justice and equality. He has also been a phenomenal advocate for donation. As the pastor of New Jerusalem Baptist Church, he has invited us to host education tables for events being held there and has allowed staff to speak to the congregation about organ, eye, and tissue donation. He has also participated in National Donor Sabbath and National Donate Life Month. This year, during the pandemic, when Life Center was looking for innovative ways to reach the community, he invited us to share informational videos with his church's online service. Life Center also partnered with his church to do several outreach events at different parks throughout the city. He is also a faith leader who has publicly supported organ, eye, and tissue donation as being a final act of giving. This is monumental, as many people of color believe that donation goes against their faith. We are honored to award Pastor Damon Lynch Jr. the 2020 Life Center Theodore E. Smith Award for his outstanding advocacy for organ, eye, and tissue donation.
I'm honored and humbled to receive it. We here at our church for many years have talked about donating organs, and so this is a culmination of something that we have done for a long time, and I appreciate this award and I'm honored to receive it. May God bless you.
Our next award, the Legacy Award, is presented to a donor family who has made significant contributions in furthering Life Center's mission and vision in honor of their loved one. This couple lost their son tragically in 2006 at the young age of 23 in a car accident. As a result of this horrific tragedy, he was able to help others as an organ and tissue donor. Since their son's death, they have sponsored the Life Center Calendar Project with proceeds raised at their annual golf outing. They invite us to have tables at their events so we can educate the community about the importance of donation. During the pandemic, they purchased a billboard on I-71 in honor of Donate Life Month to help in our outreach efforts, since all in-person activities were canceled. Finally, this amazing family shares their own personal experience to further the mission to save, change, and enhance lives through donation. Our 2020 Life Center Legacy Award is presented to Steve and Barbara Caudell. Thank you, Steve and Barbara, for your continued support of our mission in honor of your son, Jason. We are grateful to have you as an integral part of the donation community.
We are honored to receive the Legacy Award 2020. We both feel like this is Jason's award for what he has done and how much he has given. We just feel truly honored that we were picked for the award.
Barb and I were very humbled to be acknowledged, but both of us, have talked about it, and we really don't feel like we deserve any type of an award. Really, this is just a great recognition of what Jason did, and we're very grateful to have the opportunity to keep his name alive and his spirit alive, and also continue to use his legacy to continue to spread the word about the significance of organ and tissue donation. We're very grateful and very thankful.
Our final award is the Samantha Jameson Vision Award, which is presented to the Life Center staff member who, like Sam, passionately advocates for the gift of life. The award is given to the person who has gone above and beyond to honor the selfless act of organ, eye, and tissue donation. As an organization, we were blessed to work with Samantha, a Life Center volunteer and double lung recipient, as she never took one single moment of life for granted. And the staff member presented with this award shares that same passion. This young man is very dedicated to our mission. His passion for helping others is evidenced by wanting to assist local surgeons in every capacity, including working closely and studying with physicians in order to be more involved with the organ recovery process and expanding his knowledge and skill set. During the organ recovery process, he continues to ensure everyone honors the donors and the donors' families' wishes. Additionally, in the height of the pandemic, he was in the hospitals and training others to ensure that recovery still occurred. He's a kind and giving person who is quietly doing the hard work and never expects or looks for accolades. We appreciate all that he does on behalf of the many patients in need of life-saving organ transplants, and he's been a wonderful addition to the Life Center family. He's an advocate for the gift of life and assists staff with educating the community and hospitals about organ, eye, and tissue donation. He is a strong team member and leader and is always willing to help others. He is also a proud United States Army veteran. Our 2020 Samantha Jameson Vision Award winner is Jordan Caldwell.
Just want to say thank you for the Samantha Jameson Vision Award. It would not be possible without my colleagues and support of the Life Center team.
I want to thank you again for joining us today to recognize these amazing change agents in our community. And thank you for all of the wonderful nominations that we received. At this time, I would like to introduce Jason Huff, Transplant Administrator at the Cincinnati Children's Hospital Medical Center. Children's Hospital is the presenting sponsor for this year's community breakfast. Thank you.
On behalf of Cincinnati Children's Hospital Medical Center, one of the nation's top 3 pediatric hospitals, we are thrilled to welcome each of you as this year's presenting sponsor for the 17th Annual Community Breakfast. 2020 has been a year of challenges for our country, city, and more importantly, our community that we work in each day. With each challenge, we celebrate our many successes as one of the busiest pediatric transplant centers in the country. To date, Cincinnati Children's has transplanted more than 70 children this year across 7 transplant programs, which is the highest number of children transplanted since we began transplanting many decades ago. Our successes could not be achieved without the dedication of our associates, physicians, and leaders who recognize the importance of organ, tissue, and eye donation. Together, each of these individuals and strong teams are dedicated to making donation possible and represent Cincinnati Children's finest. I'm proud to unveil the Life Center 2021 calendar to all of you this morning. The calendar focuses on the wait, a significant part of the donation and transplantation process that many don't know about. We concentrate so much on the outcome of a transplant that we miss the individual's journey. Therefore, the calendar theme truly captures the perspective of those who have or are currently waiting for a gift of organ, eye, and tissue donation. It is my honor to present to you the 2021 Life Center calendar.
I don't know where to start. I could barely walk. I was tired of living with the pain, and I was over it.
Teaching, preaching, and working in the community been somewhat a challenge. Low energy levels sometimes.
I was 16. I was supposed to start driving. My friends would ask me to go out sometimes, and I couldn't. And I didn't get to go to senior prom or the senior field trip.
After 2 years, I'm living on borrowed time in my mind.
I want to continue to be here for my daughter. I cannot imagine not seeing her do all the things that she loves, whether it's gymnastics, soccer, go on to college, get married, and just be able to have that freedom back of not having to do dialysis every day.
It's a different type of life. It's a normal life. I'd like to live a normal life. I'd like to do those things that I did before. You don't miss things until you have them no more.
Waiting to me is just it's exhausting. But it's also hopeful. It's very hopeful. So it's not all negative. So you think, oh, I can't wait till she doesn't have to be on dialysis. I can't wait till she doesn't have to be connected to a machine for 12 hours a day. I can't wait till she can eat food by mouth and she doesn't have to be on oxygen.
Waiting for my future is what I'm waiting for. It's the weight on my chest, and I just sit here and wait because there's nothing I can do. I need someone to help me.
Waiting means a lifetime. The main thought is it ever going to happen? Am I going to make it until then? They say eventually will come, but I'm kind of optimistic.
It is hard, but it's important for me to know and understand that this is just one moment in time and that it will happen. But the waiting is agonizing.
I have 3 kids, 6 grandkids, and I would like to see my grandkids get older, graduate and everything. So it's very important for people to donate.
When I get the call, one of my first thoughts will be, thank you, Jesus. Thank you for the donor whose family was gracious enough to share and to save my life.
I received my liver transplant on August 22nd, 2020. Before, I was always tired and didn't want to do anything. And now I just want to go. I want people to know that there's still good in the world. That you can help others by being a donor.
Having stitches in my eye limited my ability to do a lot of things. And then I had my surgery, and then it's been awesome since then. It's brought a lot of more happiness into my life.
I couldn't describe how wonderful this has been. I really couldn't. Sorry. It's life-changing. I was able to go from not being able to really walk at school to go and hike in the Galapagos Islands in 5 months, and it was absolutely amazing. It changed my life, and I am forever grateful.
Organ, eye, and tissue donation is important because more so the needs of the recipient to expand or extend their quality of life and be with their families and see their grandchildren, things like that.
It saves people's lives. It gives people a new perspective, a new chance at life, a different life.
It's so important because there's so many people that you can help and that are waiting. There's just so many people out there who need a donation of an organ or a tissue or something like that, and it's so easy to give. And when you have someone in your life that needs a kidney or needs a organ or something, then you realize, wow, it's just so easy to do.
It would be a great thing if more would step up to help save lives, especially from infants into those that are in their late 60s, 70s, or 80s. I think many people want to help, but they're afraid of the process. It is important that we help share life the best we can. If we can take the need and match it with what's available, we still would not have enough. So I would tell people, give the gift of life, and it'll bless you as well.
Wow, what an incredible and powerful calendar and video to kick off the season of giving. Thank you, Jason, for helping us with the unveiling, and to Harris Media Co. and Durham Studio for the design and production. I also want to thank and recognize all of the calendar participants for sharing their stories and being a part of this incredible project. The Calendar Project has been an essential educational tool in our community outreach for 18 years and continues to represent the heart of Life Center's mission and vision. Thank you to our presenting sponsor, Cincinnati Children's Hospital Medical Center, for their support of this community breakfast. Speaking of breakfast, let's check back in with Jordan and Lynette for the breakfast finale. Ladies?
Welcome back, everyone. As you can see, we are ready for the fun part. Our hard work is done. We're ready to plate and eat.
Right.
So while we're doing that, Lynette, what does it mean to you today to be cooking Landon's favorite breakfast?
Makes my heart pound a little faster.
Aw.
We shared a lot of good meals together. Even though he would kind of tease me about my cooking sometimes. And when we have this around the time that his anniversary of his passing, we usually get together, have a big breakfast, and we go out, like I said, to some of his favorite restaurants. So this really means a lot to me. It's like Landon is still with us. I hope he's proud of me. I think we did pretty
great.
good.
I can assure you that he is proud of you, because look at this.
It looks delicious.
Awesome.
It looks delicious.
So would you, while I put these eggs over here, would you top these waffles for me?
Now, one thing about Landon, he was always go big or go home. Oh, so tell me if this is too much.
No, it's. Let's go more. That looks good.
Now that looks like a Landon waffle.
Okay, I love it. And is there anything else you want to tell our guests today about Life Center and its importance to you, or just about Landon?
I hate that we had to meet under those circumstances, but I'm glad we did.
Yeah.
It really has a powerful impact on not just my life, but his brothers and sisters' lives as well. And like I said before, whenever I'm in the presence of the Donate Life family, I know I'm in a good place.
Oh, good.
Even if it's on the worst day, they were there for me. And just the way when we got the phone call and they wanted to just chat with us a bit and see how we were, that meant a lot. Because when someone, you don't expect to have to bury a child.
Yeah.
And Landon was 24 when he passed away. So just the fact that someone else was able to help you through and comfort you and ask you questions about your loved one and get you thinking about some happy times. It kind of took me out of that place where I was.
Oh, good.
So very grateful.
That support was really important
Yes,
to
very
you.
supportive, very comforting, very soothing.
Wonderful. Great. So I think it's time to taste. I'm going to let you do the honors.
Okay.
We'll do this in honor of Landon. I think this one is definitely yours. So here we go.
Now, I'll tell you this about Landon, and I'm doing what he would do. You have to pour it in all the nooks and crannies.
Oh, yeah.
I don't understand why, but it was like a work of art.
All right. Let's see how it tastes.
I'm sure it's delicious. It smells delicious. It is delicious.
Good. Well, good job. You did awesome.
Thank you.
And I think Landon especially and the rest of your family, our chef critic husband, I think you got to cook a brunch for him.
Okay, let's not go that far.
I'll come over. It'll be like a ratatouille. Like I'll be up there, you know.
You're welcome anytime.
Well, thank you everyone so much for joining us today. Again, I'm Jordan. I'm with Tablespoon at Findlay Market, and it was such a pleasure to be able to cook with you and to honor Landon and Lynette and the rest of the family. And thank you, Life Center, for having us today. And enjoy your breakfast, and we will see you soon.
Thank you, Jordan and Lynette, for joining us today for breakfast. What better way to start our morning than with good company, good conversation, and of course, waffles. I really can't wait to try some. It smells awesome. If you enjoyed the cooking demo this morning, then visit tablespooncookingco.com for more information on their upcoming cooking classes. Barry and Jason, any final thoughts?
We want to express our sincere appreciation to our sponsors, whose support allows us to have this event each year. Thank you to our presenting sponsor, Cincinnati Children's Hospital Medical Center. Our legacy sponsors, Allosource and Community Tissue Services. The Charles H. Dater Foundation, our calendar sponsor, and our champion sponsors, The Health Collaborative, Horan, American Heritage Insurance, CTI Clinical Trial and Consulting Services, Global Transplant Solutions, Organ Recovery Systems, the Cincinnati Eye Bank, and the Christ Hospital Health Network. Thank you so much for your continued support of the Community Breakfast and of our mission to save, change, and enhance lives through organ, eye, and tissue donation. Your sponsorship means we have more opportunity to educate, inform, and impact people right here in the tri-state. You are committed partners as we continue to address the public health crisis.
Today is a highlight of the year for those of us who come together in unity to recognize individuals and families impacted by organ and tissue donation. At Cincinnati Children's, we are working diligently each day to be the leader in improving child health, and to accomplish this endeavor, we see the importance and results of community partnerships with organizations such as Life Center. Together, Life Center and Cincinnati Children's have a combined commitment to saving lives. To each of our donors and their families, we say thank you for your gift in the midst of tremendous sorrow. The gift is truly heroic and offers a renewed gift of life. To our transplant recipients here today, you and your families have seen firsthand the generosity that promises a new life. I will leave you with this thought by William Arthur Ward. Gratitude can transform common days into Thanksgivings, turn routine jobs into joy, and change ordinary opportunities into blessings. Thank you again for joining us today, and always remember, the best is yet to come.
So this wraps up the 17th Annual Community Breakfast. Thank you all so much for joining us today. A big thank you to our amazing speakers, supportive sponsors, and inspiring calendar participants. And congratulations again to all of our award winners for being a true donation champion and promoting donation awareness in your communities. See you next year.